a um, I have kind of a thought with that, as I'll get into once we go. But what I'm going to be doing in the meantime is not sitting at my desk talking with you. Um, I'm going to be doing something stupid, which is driving the stadium truck around Targa for a third time. This time with 5 AI trucks on the track as well, racing. So I'm going to race a stadium truck around Targa while going over Pack South because while I'm still partially sick and I tweaked my back last night, so in a decent amount of pain as well. I'm like, I'm not making a good case against the fact that people say I'm a masochist, so I don't know. I don't know. It seemed like a good idea at the time. It's not. But let's get to it. Oh, and things popping in as I forgot that those things were turned off. I don't think I could beat steak and eggs, no. Yeah, so I don't think the music will be too loud in the background. Oh, well. RNG is playing into Alex Nessi's favor. And we're going to have a little bit of wait here, so I'll get started while we're waiting for this to load. So yeah, first thing to say is I drove to the airport because I figured that was the best way of getting to the airport. Took forever to find parking because the airport I went to, in their infinite wisdom, thought, let's not put long-term parking on the sign, let's put economy parking, not long-term. So I'm driving around looking for long-term parking and can't find it. And I said economy parking, maybe that's it? And then I drove 2 miles past the airport to get to it, and I'm like, yeah, this is probably it, because it's so freaking far away that they shuttle you back to the airport. So that was the first adventure, was trying to find there. So by the time I get into parking, I'm already frazzled and a bit frustrated. So I get the ticket for the car, and I'm trying to get everything organized. I need to go, get ready to lock my car, and lock the car. And then I realized I never put the ticket in my car, and I'm like, you know, fuck it, I'll put it in my wallet, and I'll be fine, take care of it when I get back. Go into the airport, go through TSA, all that nonsense, which did not question the 12 bags of beef jerky I had in my suitcase. Not a word, which I was impressed by. Get through all that. I have 2 hours to kill, so I pull out my phone, go to start watch some YouTube videos I downloaded, and I pull out my pockets, and I'm like, where's my parking ticket? My, like, parking little slip. Nowhere to be found. Gone. So I'm like, ah, great. I guess I get to deal with that when I get back. So there's already off to a great start. Plane ride to San Antonio was very, very boring. Nothing special about it. Extremely cloudy. I couldn't see anything the entire way, so I got a little bit of sleep, watched some YouTube. That's about it. The one thing I did notice was, I thought, looking at times, I was like, oh, I'll be getting to the airport like within 20 minutes of when Mock's getting there. So I tell him, let's meet up at the airport. However, I forgot that when it said I was going, when my plane was landing, that it meant in San Antonio time, not Eastern time, because time zones are a thing. So when I thought we were going to be about 20 minutes apart, we were actually about 45 to an hour apart. So he had to sit around and wait for me because I was in the air and I couldn't tell him I made a mistake because airplane mode, and I didn't have Wi-Fi. So that was something. Alright, race is loaded up. Let me take a second, clear my throat, and then I'll get into the race. Alright, there we go. A little bit better. I'll move the mouse closer to see if I can do that while I'm driving because my mutes are on the mouse. Alright. Here we go. I actually kind of want to turn this down a slight bit more. And let's jump into the race. And hope I think... Nope. I don't know what change camera view button is. There it is.
Green flag.
Whoa, boy.
Watch out, yellow flag.
We're gonna restart this because I couldn't pay attention to what I was doing. Truck stop, please. Escape. I really need to remap all my controls so I can do this easier. Restart race. Whoop. Alright.
Green, green, green.
Off to a fantastic start.
Caution flag is out.
Because I was in first, it stalled and I didn't realize it. Alright. Third time's the charm. Here we go.
Green, green, green.
Wow, really wanted to spin there. Alright. Hectic already. Gotta touch the wall. Still touching the wall, can't get off the wall. Got past. So, getting to the airport, caught a cab with Yole, Ole, and Mach.
Watch your left.
Met Georgian, managed to not punch him in the face.
Watch your right. Clear.
Oh boy.
On your left. All clear.
Yeah, so met Georgian, didn't punch him in the face, surprisingly.
Still there.
It was tempting.
Hold your line. 3 wide.
Already in last. Oh, second to last.
Left side. On your left.
Oh boy.
Clear.
And then taxi ride was a bit interesting, as
Watch your left.
the taxi van we were in was ancient and very worn out.
On your right.
The shocks were completely blown out in the rear, to the point where we could hear the rear tires rubbing every time we went over a bump from the weight in the back. Oh, oh boy.
All clear.
Truck on my left. I may have murdered him.
Right.
It's alright. Oh, he murdered him again.
Right. Keep left. Clear.
This is definitely not easy. Well, now that we're by ourselves, this should be a little bit easier. So, first night, just spent BSing with Yole and Mach. At that point, I just really wanted to kind of ease my way into PAX and didn't want to really get together, be in a big crowd. It was only Thursday. We still had Friday, Saturday, Sunday to meet with everyone, so I was in no rush to meet with everyone. I just wanted to kind of hang out with Yole and Mach, who I was already with, get some food in us because we were all hungry by that time, and just ate food, BS'd, and then we we kind of then Xavier and Shadow and them. Hey, Incarcerate, how's this going? Xavier and Shadow and them started talking, and we kind of sillily what's the word I'm looking for? Not half-heartedly, kind of weak-heartedly. We're joking that we were drunk already when we weren't. We had just started drinking by that time. We mostly were just kind of we were trying to be a little bit subtle about we were all kind of tired by then. We didn't really want to meet up with anyone, and it was just we had all packs and we were just kind of relaxing. But eventually, after a bunch of talking, they ended up coming and meeting, and I got to meet Xavier and Shadow and them, which it was nice to get to kind of meet them in person, because I've seen a couple pictures of Xavier from his Imgur and stuff like that he does. Nope. Save it. Saved it. So it was nice to kind of actually see him in person. A little bit shorter than I was expecting. I expected him to be a little bit taller. The straggly ginger beard was just as straggly and ginger as I expected it to be from the pictures. And but nice to put a face to him, and we briefly talked with them, but by that time we were all, me, Yoli, and Mock were shot because we had been talking and pretty tired by then. So only like an hour or so we talked, and then we kind of bailed. And oh yeah, that was the end of Thursday. We get into Friday. I wake up and I didn't really have a plan set at all. Me, Mock, and Yole had our own kind of private chat, because we knew we wanted to spend some time together just by ourselves and meet up every once in a while. So we had our private chat, and then I was pretty much just gonna make my plans around what other people wanted to do. I had no real plans. Friday morning, kind of got up. I walked around.
Watch out, yellow flag.
I do that way too often.
Caution.
I started to walk around PAX and kind of get my first impressions of PAX itself. And I went completely completely went the wrong way. So I went very backwards way to get there. And because of that, I found my way at a side entrance, and this side entrance wasn't that populated. And I was kind of surprised by this. I was like, oh, it's PAX, there's going to be lots of people. And I was like, oh, maybe it's not going to be as bad as I thought. Maybe it really is. It is PAX Light, so maybe it's not as bad as what I had mentally envisioned. And then I got inside, and it was, yep, everything I thought it was going to be. Which, for me, is everything I have zero interest in. So I have no interest in the whole gaming convention of hardcore. I want to come here to game with people and talk games 24/7. I don't talk video games that much. Hardly ever. I'll talk racing video games because of my interest in vehicles. But, like, regular video games, I will hardly ever say a peep about them. So, not that interested. And then, stuff like people that cosplay and stuff like that. It's neat. It's cool that they cosplay. Weirds me out. I'll look at pictures of cosplays. It's fine. In person, completely strange. I do not want to be near these people. I don't want to talk with them. It's like, I just like, no, don't have interest in it. I'm gonna stand over here and pretend like you're not there. As I do with most human beings. I started walking around the convention floor, and within like 10 minutes of doing that, my shoes were already eating into my feet and were very painful, to the point where I could feel blisters already starting to form. And it was already becoming uncomfortable. And right as that was becoming like really painful, who do I run into? None other than Georgian. It's like, out of everyone on the convention floor, I walk right into Georgian. It was awkwardly, "How are you doing?" "Great." "Good. And then we went our separate ways. It's a very, very awkward interaction. Much like I expected with PAX, with Georgian being there, because I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Georgian is an okay person some of the time. Other times, I can't stand him. So, any interaction with Georgian with me is gonna be awkward, because I see both sides of him. I can get along with him, but I also want to beat his face in multiple times on other occasions, because of how stubborn and abrasive he can be. But so that was as awkward as expected. I kind of methodically went through all the booths after that, covered all the ground. I saw a singular game that looked interesting to me, and it was made by it's called Black Ice or something like that. I actually bought it the other night just to try it out, and it's an enjoyable, fun kind of mindless shooter game, which I like, my mindless shooters. And that was, by that point, after I'd walked methodically through all this, I got a message from Yole that she was getting lunch with Cone. If I wanted to join, I could come join her. And I was like, you know what? I'm kind of hungry. I'll go for something to eat. Actually, on the way there, met up with Mock. Caught at the food court, and we both walked over, met up with Cone. That was the first time I actually got to sit and meet with Cone, and that was interesting. He's another person I expected to be taller in person. Not that he's short, but closer to my size than I was expecting. One thing I wasn't expecting was all the looks he gives you. What he lacks in visual, or like verbal communication, he makes up for in visual communication. He will just shoot you random ass looks for no reason, just no purpose. They're either very judgy or befuddled. Every single one of them. They're all different, but every single one of them is some way looking at you like he's judging you for something you said, or as if he's puzzled by something you said. And it's very strange. My mental nature of handling such people like that immediately just did the same thing to him. So I combated his weird looks by just doing the same thing to him. But meeting Cone was cool. When we met him, Slag was currently getting his hair cut, and so we were just kind of sitting talking, waiting for Slag to show up so we can all eat. Oh, and pull my steering wheel off. I don't have time for this. Oh, I know what the problem is. Oh, and my game just paused without me doing it. Oh, and now it's back.
The course.
I forgot to... I gotta pull my mouse pad forward, or else my wheel doesn't sit all the way down, and I can't tighten it all the way. I forgot to do that, because I recently moved my mouse pad. I got one of those full desk mouse pads. There we go. That's much better. Actually, well, I got a chance. Alright, there we go. There we go. Back on the road. So, while we were waiting for Slag, we were sitting at the sandwich shop. We were going to get food. And the strangest thing, Cone just goes, "Did you see Young Good?" And I'm like, "What, Young Good?" He goes, "There's a guy over there who looks like a young version of Good." And no shit, this guy looked exactly like fucking Good. Like, it looks like if Good was about 28 to like 32 years old, that was what Good would look like. Like, younger version of Good. It was hilarious. So, after looking awkwardly at this man who looked like a young version of Good, we went up and tormented Slag as he was getting his haircut in the mall. Before getting our food, it was a decent lunch, just kind of quiet, which was pretty much all of my interactions with Cone, and eventually, I'll get to Kurt. Very few words, very quiet, and that's kind of how I'd prefer it. But after we had lunch, what the hell did we do? After lunch, I think we all separated. Conan, Slag, and Yole went somewhere, I think. Mock went to get his hair cut done, and at that point I said to myself, for the love of God, I need to get new shoes. So I went strolling through the mall, found a shoe store, and bought new shoes that weren't going to eat my feet alive anymore. Because at this point, I was ready to punch a person in the face, which would most likely be Georgian if I saw him again. And I got those shoes, and I gonna say that was the best decision of PAX I had, was getting those new shoes, because my life was about 8,000 times better after that. It was so much better. And I think we ended up, after that, walking around the convention center. I think I might have walked the convention center a little bit more, not much. And then I think at some point, I ended up meeting up with, oh yeah, that's right, I went, I managed to find a spot at the convention center that was a balcony where people were smoking, like could smoke cigarettes and stuff. I found that, and it just so happened to overlook the highway, the main highway right next to the convention center, and that was a giant blessing for me, because that meant I could do my favorite sport of car watching, which is something I used to do all the time in college while waiting for a bus, is just sit there, usually listening to music, and just watch all the cars go by, name as many as I could, try to figure out which ones I didn't know, figure out what they were, and just something I really enjoy as a car guy. So I did that for a while, just sat there, looked at all the cars, got to see a bunch of Jeeps, mostly mall crawlers, because, well, that's what most Jeeps are anymore, sadly. I did get to see a guy bringing home a YJ square headlight Jeep on a trailer, most likely a project, it looked like. Either that or a really beater off-roader. Either is acceptable. But I have no interest in YJs because my dad had one and I've spent so much time around it. I love them. I just don't have any interest in owning one. And after doing that, I ended up meeting up with Cone, who had met back up with Mock at that point. I think we were playing games in the gaming console section, playing some Smash Bros, which I never really played much Smash Bros in my youth. And, oops. It's okay, it's fine, just a wall. Just wanted to make sure it was still there. After playing games for a little while, I didn't play that much because I didn't really have much interest in it, because never a huge Smash guy, and what little I did play, I just kind of fumbled about jumping off the edge by myself without anyone hitting me because I didn't know what I was doing. And then after that, walk out, and then out of nowhere, it's Kurt J. Mack. Just standing there. It's like, oh, hi. Wasn't expecting that. But, so, Kurt, taller than I expected. Just my normal reaction at all. Like, every time I met a person, oh, they're taller than I imagine, or they're shorter than I imagine. Nope. Just, I don't know why. First thing that pops in my mind. But he was a bit taller than I imagined. A lot of people say that apparently about him. Just everything as far as awkward as I could imagine. He's very much like you would expect him to be, and that's kind of a good thing. You know exactly what you're getting into when you talk with Kurt. So, but ended up getting invited to go eat dinner with them, and that was interesting. Just following Kurt to this restaurant that was miles away. Walked out to this restaurant, got a venison burger, which wasn't that great, if I'm honest. And I had stomach pains after eating it, so I questioned how they cooked it. But the best thing about the dinner was, and this is something normal apparently at PAX South, is Slag was with us, Slagathor, and we go to the restaurant, we sit down, we start ordering drinks, and after we order drinks, he just stands up, he's like, I gotta go do a thing. Just walks away. He's like, I have prior arrangements, and then gone. It was funny. Just stands up, walks out, doesn't say a word other than that. And, oh man, coughing and trying to steer is bad. Even the waiter walks back, he's like, wasn't there another one of you? And he's like, yep, he walked out. Just gone. And that was the last that we heard of Slag for that night. Just gone. After dinner, Kurt insisted that instead of walking back to our respective hotels, he got a lift for us. And this lift was interesting and followed all the rules of what I found out about Uber and Lyft. Is the one thing you can count on is that it's going to be different every single time you take it. Sometimes you'll have a good driver, other times you'll have a crazy driver. You never know what you're going to get. Our driver was extremely nice, had a Honda Odyssey van, which was big enough to carry us all, which was good. I was in like the middle row, and he had the little DVD player down, and there was like music videos playing on it, which I was like weird, like instant red flag to me. Is like, who in the world has music videos playing on their DVD player in a Honda Odyssey? And the first thing this guy says to us, okay, after we tell him where we want to go, is he's like, do you mind listening to Latin music with a little bit of like rock and roll influences? There's second red flag of, who in the hell describes music like that? And we're like, sure, as normal people, we're like, sure, whatever, play music. Instantly, he turns it to like full volume, and it's blasting. And Mock, in the most southern way you can ever imagine, goes, whoa, that's a little loud. Would you mind turning it down? I've been drinking, and I'm gonna get a headache. And so he turns it down. It's still pretty loud. And, listening to music, and it's not terrible. It's very generic kind of Latin music. And watching these music videos, the music videos were ridiculous, like just your standard kind of Latin pop kind of music video with lots of the lead singer walking around random locations with women plastered every about 3/4 of a second to keep the average attention span of a male. So that's playing, and as it's playing, I'm thinking to myself, you know, this sounds a lot like him. And the more he's talking, the more and more I'm getting suspicious. And at some point I lean over to Cone, who's sitting at the back. I go, this is his band that he's playing. And sure enough, like maybe a minute after that, he starts going into his sales pitch. Yeah, he goes, oh, you like the music? This is my band. And he's going on about the name of the band, which I can't for the life of me remember. I have the business card somewhere. I saved that. Yeah, pull the business card out, and sure enough, he explains, yeah, we're the first Latin some music who also has their own hot sauce. So their band name, like, and it's not something they license out. It's nope, their band makes hot sauce. He makes it. It's his grandmother's recipe. Has blah bunch of recipes. And while he's talking about this and driving, out of nowhere, and I mean nowhere, he just pulls out a case of hot sauce, just like he had it in his back pocket. Just, well, here's a case of hot sauce, and then puts it in the center console. And Mock's like, what is this? And he's like, hot sauce. Mock was completely befuddled by it, as most of us were. So then he's going into a whole spiel about his hot sauce. And I'm like, we're on a paid for advertisement. We're paying this guy to advertise to us while he's driving. But, like, the entire time, I'm not even angry at him because he's being extremely polite. He's not, like, being over the top trying to force you to buy it. Like, hey, do you want to buy it? Nope, he's just selling it to you. So he's telling you about where the recipe comes from and how he does it, and like a good salesman. He was a good salesman. So, like, you just have to sit there and laugh because he's trying to sell you stuff in the most polite fashion ever. And we get to where we're going. We get out and like just go on, and we look up the card afterwards, and he has an Instagram where he takes pictures of his the people he drives with the hot sauce. It's like the most cheesy thing I've ever seen. It's hilarious. So after the most entertaining Lyft ride I've ever had, we were at Cone and Yole's hotel, and proceeded to sit there and awkwardly sit around each other, not saying a word. Very limited conversation. Told a couple stories. Overall, I was kind of out of it by then because, one, I was starting to feel sick from the venison burger I had, and two, this whole day was kind of weird for me because I'm meeting people for the first time like Cone, and the strange thing was, like, you meet these people and you know did you actually find it? I don't think that's it, but you meet these people and you don't expect, what's the word? You're talking with them as if you've known each other for a long time, which we have. But you don't really know these people, so it's kind of weird, and I was out of it by then and not very comfortable. I was quite uncomfortable between stomach pains and just the awkwardness of the situation, because to be honest, I could have went all of PAX without talking with Kurt or really doing anything with Kurt other than meeting him, because I like Kurt. I really like Kurt's content. He's an entertaining person. I enjoy what he does. But I think on a personal level, like just being friends with, I always had a sense that him and me aren't really that in common. We don't have much in common, and I have that feeling of I don't think he enjoys being around me, so I was uncomfortable to be around him because I felt he was uncomfortable being around me. Strange thing to be bothered by, but it's something that my brain would process as a thought, so I was uncomfortable because I felt he didn't want me there. Then, after we kind of sat around and talked for a little bit, Mock at a point decided, you know what, I'm going to go and meet up with Xavier and them because they wanted to meet up. So he wandered off, and the rest of us kind of sat there, talked for a little bit, and then eventually, oh boy, I'm inside the world. Everything's fine. Oh, I just realized someone DNF'd. This is fine. Alright, see? Fine. Took a little work, we're free. So we ended up going, alright, we'll split our own ways, and I kind of made a decision. I'm gonna go hang out with Mock at the bar with Xavier and all them, because I wanted to kind of make up for not wanting to be with them Friday and kind of not spending any time, because I just was over. I didn't want to go slow, and went to the bar. Actually, before getting to the bar, I went for quite the stroll to get to the bar, because me and Kurt and Kurt's friend who was with went went the same way, so they're like, oh, we go this way to get to our hotel. I'm like, okay, I'm going this way away from you. I felt way too out of place already. I'm like, I want to get away as soon as I possibly can. So I went this other way. I was like, I'll figure it out. I hope I'm going the right direction. I was not. I was not going the right direction at all. So after walking for quite a distance, I'm like, I'm definitely going the wrong way, because I don't recognize anything I'm around. I have not a clue where I'm at. So after dealing a lot with my phone's GPS and landmarks that I could see around, I eventually ended up just saying screw the phone GPS and went off the landmarks and found my way to where I needed to be. Got to the bar and proceeded to be me, which I don't think a lot of the Farlanders realize. I am not a people person. Like, very far from being a people person. I can talk with people over the internet, and my personality between welcome back, Moose. My personality between internet and real life isn't much different. However, I am much quieter. Hey, Mock, how's it going? I'm much quieter as a person in real life. I don't talk a whole lot. When I'm in a meeting, like a group of people, like in a setting of 2 to 3, maybe 4 people, I'm perfectly fine, normal. You put me in a situation where I'm with more than 5 people, and I will not say a word. I will sit there and listen, and if someone asks me something directly, I'll respond. Other than that, I will not talk. I'm not a storyteller. I'm not a person that can easily just be entertaining in person. I'm a very boring person. Don't let all the crazy things I do in video games fool you. I don't do a whole lot interesting in my life. The most interesting things I do with my life is I go to concerts, rock concerts, and make poor decisions. So I don't have much to contribute when I'm in a group, especially with the Farlanders, who are much more I want to say over the top personality-wise. They're a lot more vibrant than me. They come over much more excited. So that kind of clashes with the way I like to be. So they want to get to know more about you and talk what they have in common with you in the Farlander community, which is playing video games like Minecraft. And I don't talk about those things. Like I said, with the gaming convention, I don't do things like that. It's just, I don't, like, it stems, I think, a lot from my upbringing. I am not your typical gamer, geek person as far as how I was raised. I didn't have many video games when I was growing up. I played N64 a lot, and I played video games, but video games was a small percentage of what I did until like high school. And even in high school, when I played a lot of video games, I still did sports. I played baseball, soccer. I never did football. I did wrestling. I would have did ice hockey if I could. I did pretty much any sport I could. I would do paintballing. I did golf. Pretty much everything, every activity I did. I was very athletic, never very good at anything. Like, I was never a very good soccer player, never great at baseball. I was exactly average. I was the person you could rely on doing good enough. They weren't going to excel, but they were going to get the job done. That's me. And that's very much how I am even in video games. I don't excel in any video game. I'm just about average. And, yeah, so, and when I was a kid, I didn't talk video games. Video games were just something I did kind of for my free time. It wasn't something I considered something to talk about. So, I just don't talk about it. I would love your uni. Sure about that? University is a that's something I should talk about one day, but today is not that day. So met up with them. I didn't really say anything. It was more to kind of spend time with them, so I could spend time with them, and I didn't try to go out of my comfort zone and be anything other than I am, because, well, that's not what I was about. I didn't want to step out of my comfort zone. I just wanted to be me and be around these people. So it was okay. I had a right time. Some of the people I met from the FLOB community were not what I was expecting. Some were exactly what I was expecting. Kono Tyrant, he was something. Bless him. He's a nice guy, but man, is he boisterous. Very loud. Very loud, to the point where I'm like, I've talked with you over Discord. How is your mic not constantly peaking out? You're very loud. So, like I said, bless his soul. He's a really nice guy. Just over the top for me. Very outside of my comfort zone as a personality, because, like I said, quiet, reserved, and he goes past that quiet and reserved part, and he doesn't have that kind of restraint like a lot of the people there who have kind of similar personalities, like Yole. Yole has a somewhat similar personality, but she's much more restrained with it. She's self-aware of her over-the-topness, and she'll wheel it back in. Kono has a problem where he doesn't rein it back in, and he just kind of keeps going. So it's a little much to deal with. Then 14. 14 is a really nice guy, quiet. Didn't really say much to me, to him. He didn't really say much to me, but I think we had the kind of mutual, you're a good person, I don't have anything to say to you. we mutually, we're like, I like you, I'm not going to talk to you. We don't have anything to say. What else? Commander. I met Commander Seelan for the first time then that night. Commander is very quiet and reserved, kind of like I was expecting him to be. He very much is small, like Inu. I cannot say that word. Very small. Not what I was expecting. I was expecting him to be a taller, bigger person. Nope, he was a pretty small guy for what I had the mental image of. But once again, nice person. I didn't really get to talk to him much that night. And then Shadow was Shadow. That's all I have to say is Shadow was Shadow. Who else? Georgian. Georgian pissed me off at the bar, as he does, talking about Endurance League. Georgian, if you watch this, for the love of God, let Conelanders just fucking die! It's already dead, just let it die! I wanted to smack him in the face so hard, but I restrained myself because Yole would be pissed at me, and I didn't want to make Yole angry. So, that's my excuse. That, and, well, I didn't have the excuse of, it was also, like, it's Friday night, so I would still have to deal with him for another 2 days, so that also wouldn't go over well. So, yeah. That was Friday. Saturday, the quote-unquote busy day of PAX, was exactly that. After 2 nights in a row, staying out till like 1 a.m., not getting practically any sleep, because I keep forgetting to put a do not disturb sign on my hotel door. So housekeeping kept waking me up at like 8 a.m. Yeah, the I sat around. I think I finally dragged myself out of bed at like 1 in the afternoon. After 1 in the afternoon, I was like, you know what, I need to get up because they're going to be doing the meetup relatively soon, for the Flob/Cone meetup. I went down to the food court to like walk past, just get to the meeting location, and my god, was it a madhouse. And that wasn't even the convention. I was like, okay, I don't want to go in the convention. No, fuck this. Fuck this. There's way too many people. I want none of this. So I walked clear away from the convention. I was like, I want nothing to do with this. And we're in the straightaway. I got some drinks and walked away. And that was all I did with the PAX for quite a while. We did the meetup. The meetup was cool. The meetup was awesome, actually, because at the meetup, it was Z-Car and his wife, Bianca. I believe that's how you say it. I'm awful with names, so like, especially if I can't quite hear it right, then makes it even worse, because then I'm constantly thinking if I'm saying it right. But I met them, and Z-Car is an awesome person. He, as multiple people have said, with helping Cone and everything, but he is a great guy to talk to. For me, he's the kind of guy I could talk with for hours and be able to continue the whole conversations, because he is he's got the same disease as me of owning way too many vehicles for his own good, and he knows the exact same feelings that I know of. I shouldn't buy this, but I'm gonna buy it. And so we got along very well, and I pretty much spent the entire meetup talking with him about previous car experiences and stuff like that. Beer. Beer. Yeah, so we talked, and I'll say I didn't really talk that much with Z-Car. We kind of had a couple conversations in the Cone Discord, but I didn't really know who he was, and I never really had a good idea who he was, so we never really had any good conversations. And yeah, definitely a big fan of Z-Car now. Just after talking with him, really enjoyed that. After that, we all went to get food, and we went to Fuddruckers, which I never heard of, but apparently just like your kind of run-of-the-mill fast food place, except for you place your order and then you wait for a buzzer to go off and get it. You could seat a lot of people there. And of course we ended up in 2 tables, and where do I end up? I end up at the table with Kurt, not with Cone and them. So I'm at the table with Kurt, and of course, of all the places, I end up sitting across for Kurt, and that was weird. And I was like, you know what, Commander Seelan and them were coming. I was like, perfect opportunity. There's a table for 2 right next to us. I'm gonna go sit there away from them and let the other Farlanders who really would prefer to sit next to Kurt, because to them it means a whole lot more to sit with Kurt than me, because like I said prior, I have a feeling that we have very different personalities, and that he wouldn't like to be around me, and that makes me uncomfortable because I don't like that. So I wanted out of that situation, and I saw my out, so I took it. And as soon as I did that, Kurt's like pointing, no, just sit here, we'll get more chairs. It's like, that's alright, I'm not okay with this. And then I could see Xavier get a little uncomfortable because I think he might have thought I was trying to get away from him, which I wasn't. It was just like, I want to get away from Kurt. And I know you guys appreciate sitting across from Kurt more than me. Do that, and I will sit over here. And nope, I got dragged back into it, which is fine. I just felt really uncomfortable, so I had another uncomfortable meal. Once again, upset my stomach. I think with all the grease, it upset my stomach. And yeah, that was awkward. So yeah, it was, and I kind of feel bad. I hope Xavier didn't feel like I was trying to get away from him, because I wasn't. I really... Songs, please. Why do you keep playing the same ones? I wasn't trying to get away from him. I like Xavier. I have no problems with him. It was just, I wanted out of the situation from Kurt. It's like, I want out of here. So, there was that. And then, after that, we ended up all getting partially separated because we all kind of left and then went different directions before realizing, hey, what are we doing? And we ended up, me, Mock, Z-Car, and Bianca, and some lurkers from Kurt's chat who met at the meetup. We're walking back to the convention center trying to find Cone. And we ended up going different directions, and then it was just me and Mock, and we searched around. We're like, you know what, if we don't find them, we'll just go to the bar and drink, because at this time, me and Mock, much like I expected, Mock is my kind of people. Me and Mock, we get along very well. Like, it was... I would say the way I felt when I was around Mock was like he's a friend from school. Like, I've known him for many years and been around him, so I felt really comfortable being around Mock and just talking with him. And so anytime I could, I was pretty much with Mock because it felt comfortable. We had very similar views on PAX. So me and him multiple times were like, you know what? How about we both skip out on PAX and go drink? Because that sounds more fun. It sounds like something we can do and we'd be around, away from people. So, that's what we planned. We ended up walking into him then, and I was like, you know what? This time, I am going to go out of my comfort zone, because I was like, you know what? I could just go drinking with Mock regardless, even though we just found them. But I was like, you know what? I know it... Like, Cone bugged me a lot to go out the PAX, like, multiple times of just telling me I have to go out and to go to PAX and we can meet. So, I felt bad that I wasn't doing stuff at PAX with Cone. So, I said, you know what, I'll kind of go out of my comfort zone and play some tabletop games with them, so that way I can kind of spend more time with Cone and doing stuff, not just awkwardly talking or sitting around the table, and actually have probably what he wanted me there for more. And I did that, and that was actually quite fun. We played one of those, like, Apples to Apples, or all those frickin' Cards Against Humanities, all those. Be weird and dark, and you get points for being a terrible person, but that's okay. It was one of those games. I don't remember exactly the one. That was okay. And then after playing some of that and playing, I think, what we played that a couple rounds, and then I decided, I was like, you know what? Me and Mock, we're gonna go to the bar. So me and Mock left. We went to the bar, and reading chat too hard. I was like, you know what? We'll go to the bar, and me and Mock just went and hung out, had some Jack and Cokes, and we just bullshitted for I don't even know how long. I lost track of time. But we just sat there and talked, and then out of nowhere, I get a tap on my shoulder from Yole with everyone. So I was enjoying my time just bullshitting with Mock, and then next thing I know, all the Farlanders are there. It's like, oh, I was having fun. Now I gotta be sociable. I don't like this. So we ended up leaving the perfectly good bar where I had drinks and I was enjoying myself. And then we found another bar, so I had to get more drinks, and that bar sucked. They had two bartenders, and they were two of the worst bartenders I've ever seen in my life. They took forever to get you a drink. And I ended up just getting too many drinks because I ordered, I would order 2 or 3 at a time, so that way I didn't have to wait for them the next time. Ended up over drinking, but actually, in the midst of all that, I ended up having a good conversation with Georgian about alcohol. That was actually enjoyable. And I had a civilized, entertaining conversation with Georgian where I didn't want to punch him in the face. He was a normal human being. And it was actually enjoyable. That was strange. I don't know. That's what I talk about with Georgian. Every once in a while, he's a likable person. It's strange, I know, but he does have redeeming qualities. They're hidden behind anger and a assholery. I think that's the term I want to go with. But they're there. But ended up getting a little too drunk with that. Tried walking home. Was walking through the mall, and I thought I was under the impression the mall was open 24 hours. Nope, apparently they close at 2. Right when I was in the middle of the mall, he's like, nope, turn around, out the other door. I was like, okay. Walk out the other door, he locks me out. Oh boy, I saw a tag. Pin. See, your pin made me kill people. Nessie, please. So, yeah, I had to walk out, get to my apartment. I was none too happy about this. But I managed to get into my hotel room with the key in one try. I was impressed by that. Then, that was the end of Saturday, the busy day. We get to Sunday, the slow day. And, yeah, it was exactly that, the slow day. I rolled out of bed pretty late. I didn't want to do anything. I had my the total amount of social activity I want for about 3 months. Ended up, oh boy, what did I end up doing? I had my breakfast at the hotel. I think, I want to say I didn't eat lunch. And then, eventually, I, went up and met up with some of the people at the tabletop again in the convention center. And, played some games with them. And that was fun. Once again, I enjoyed playing tabletop stuff with people. Had a good time there. All around was a good time. Got to talk with Commander Sealand some more, which I enjoyed talking with Commander. I just had a really good time playing the games, and then after a little while, me and Mock the previous night talked. We're like, you know what? Let's go see a movie, because we wanted this. We walked past the movie theater. I walked past it every day to get to my hotel, and I was always dead. And I was like, you know what? I feel like that'd be a really chill thing to do and hang out with people. So me and Mock said, you know what? Me and you we can go see a movie on Sunday. And we'll just go to that. And we're like, neither of us had seen the new Star Wars, so we're like, yeah, we'll go see that. And, sorry. Short dying session. Yeah, so we after playing a bunch of games, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go meet up with Mock. We're gonna go see a movie at the IMAX. If any of you want to come, go ahead. Left and then went to meet up with Mock. And by the time I got to the theater for the movie, I saw a message from Yole. Hey, me and Cone are coming to the movie. I was like, okay. I guess it's not gonna be me and Mock sit and watch the movie. So I show up. Mock had bought me my ticket, so I was like, all right. Now I feel bad. So I bought Cones and Cone, Yole, and Swags and Slags movie ticket. So going to the movie theater and just enjoyed that. It was a nice, relaxing time. I won't go over the movie. It was a good movie. That's all I gotta say. It was an entertaining movie. That's all. Then after, it's actually sometime in the middle of the movie, not in the middle, a little bit after it started, for whatever reason, I look over, something catches my eye out of my, left eye, and I look over, and there's Zekar and his wife. I'm like, where the hell did you come from, and how did you sit next to me without me noticing? And I assume it's because the movie theater was currently trying to blast my eardrums out, and that's probably why I didn't notice, but yeah, they snuck in, and so we got done with the movie, and about, I don't know, it was maybe 3/4 of the way through the movie, I died. No, I didn't die. Oh boy, rip. Oh boy, it's fine, everything's fine. Kurt fine. Don't worry about it. We wanted to eat. We were all hungry by that time. And we walk out, and as we're walking, trying to think of where we're going to eat, we just run into Kurt again, who apparently was talking with Cone. So that was the second time, just suddenly a Kurt J. Mac. I was like, awesome. I get to be awkward again. And but by that time, I was starting to feel sick already. My throat was swelling up, and it was already becoming difficult to breathe and talk. So I was even more quiet than normal because it hurt to talk. And I was mildly sad because I was like, oh, great, now I get to deal with sickness already. I was hoping to deal with that when I get home. and we went and ended up at getting dinner at this what is it, Jimmy Buffett's? Yeah, Jimmy Buffett's place. I just got an appetizer because I knew I wasn't gonna be that hungry. And I was like, oh, I'll get nachos. It's gonna be big. I won't eat it all, but it'll be good. It was the biggest plate of, second biggest plate of nachos I've ever seen, and I was like, oh great, now there's definitely no way I'm gonna eat half of this. And on top of that, they were terrible. Absolutely terrible. The worst nachos I've ever had. Like, I've had better nachos that I've made, and I'm talking throw cheese on Tostitos nachos. They were better than those nachos. Because it was a mixture of cheese, Cheese Whiz, cream cheese? I don't know. It was not cheese. It was weird. It was disgusting. The guacamole was absolutely repulsive. The sour cream, I hate sour cream, was like covered at 90% of it. The only thing that was tasty was the jalapeno peppers, because you can't fuck them up. And they didn't make them. And there was no beef. Zero beef. It's like, how can you have no beef in nachos? This is sacrilege. Oh, that was awful. I was like, this on top of being sick, how could you? But I did have Jack and Cokes. I had 2 Jack and Cokes, which they served with limes, because apparently in Jimmy Buffett land, everything gets served with limes, because fuck you. So, after the Jacks, I could actually talk and breathe, which was nice. So I ended up talking with Slag some bit, a little bit with Z-Car as well. Talking cars. Slag was showing me cars on Craigslist, which is like giving me the itch. I'm like, oh great, now I want to look at Craigslist. Damn it, Slag. But we were talking cars, so that was nice. It was an enjoyable dinner from that aspect, because I got to sit and talk with Slag for a bit. That was the first time I actually talked to Slag, and I enjoyed talking with Slag and just talking cars with him as well. I think I could enjoy talking more with Slag. Kind of similar to me in the way that he's very quiet as well, so I feel like we probably won't talk that much, but I don't mind his company. He's a person I would enjoy being around, just because quiet, has similar interests, so when we do talk, we can have actual conversation, back and forth conversation. But with that was pretty much the end of PAX. I got my plane back home in sickness, and proceeded to be sick for still. But kind of the summary for PAX for me, my thoughts of PAX. My original thought was I wanted nothing to do with PAX. I don't want to do gaming conventions. I don't like the premise. It's not me. And that's exactly what I expected. It was exactly what I expected. I was uncomfortable. I didn't enjoy PAX itself. I enjoyed the tabletop games and stuff with people, which you could do anywhere. It wasn't like anything special that we played. We just played tabletop games that people had, and we just played and had an enjoyable time there. So even that was, I wouldn't consider PAX. It's just playing games with friends. So yeah, like, as far as PAX itself, there wasn't a single aspect of it that I enjoyed, other than being around friends. So I will say this. I said when I was there, I will never go to another PAX again. And I may hold true to that. I think I might go to another one possibly go out to PAX West, I'm trying to say, to meet Les, to go out and have an excuse to go see Les Cubes. But when I say I'm going to do PAX West, what would actually happen is I would go to PAX, I'd go out west, meet Les Cubes, and then fuck off for the rest of the weekend doing shit with Les Cubes. And not do anything PAX related, just fuck off and go do something else. So, yeah, it's just not for me. I am not made out for that. But I really did, like, I don't regret going at all. Oh, and Mock, if Mock is there. Yeah, of course. But I do not regret going to this at all. I'm glad I went. I'm glad I did it, despite the sickness and everything. It's just, I needed that. I needed to meet and talk with Mock. I needed to meet Yole. I've been really quiet about Yole. Yole is fantastic. Once again, another person, I felt like I've known Yole, like, as a friend for many years. She's just an absolute sweetheart, and she was a pleasure to be around, and it was really nice of her to set up all the stuff with Cone and Kurt that she did. Granted, a lot of it wasn't necessarily needed for me, but I really appreciated being involved with that, and I hope Cone and Kurt don't take offense to how I was during PAX and that I was uncomfortable with all that, but it's just, it was out of my comfort zone, and I really wasn't prepared for that. So I don't know. I think I personally feel like I need to meet with Cone again outside of PAX at like a racing event or something else, and actually try to spend time with him somewhere else, because to be honest with you, I got to spend a decent amount of time with Cone. I don't feel like I actually had any quality time where I talked with Cone and had a very enjoyable time like I had with Mock and Yole and them. Like, I enjoy Cone, but I didn't have that kind of connection with Cone there. Everything felt very separated every single time I talked with Cone. It was either with a very large group of people where I was uncomfortable and didn't want to talk and didn't want to strictly spend all the time talking with Cone, or it was awkwardly with other people where I was very uncomfortable and I didn't really want to talk. So strictly, I would say I need to do something else with Cone, because that PAX wasn't really all that great for meeting Cone, in my opinion. So that's something. Then the other thing we determined is I just need to go out to Florida sometime and meet with Dux, because me and Dux would probably get along. Judging from everything I know of Dux, we would probably get along pretty well. Although I think there'd probably be one night that we really would regret and get too drunk, because it sounds like we have very similar personalities where we would feed off of each other and be a bad time. It'd be a good time, but it'd be a bad time. But yeah, PAX, great experience. Really cool to meet people, put a face to names and talk, and like a better personality idea with their traits, and kind of get to know people better, and get to actually spend time with half of Team Beer and Whiskey, which I already get to meet the other half. But yeah, meeting Mock was like the biggest thing of PAX. Talking with Mock was absolutely great. As we all know, Mock is good people, so I if I would have just talked with Mock like I did for PAX, that would have been enough. That's how much fun I had with it. I really enjoyed it.
Caution.
And the thing I was kept thinking when I was talking with Mock is, man, did I wish I could do that with Sebi. Because when I met with Sebi, it was so rushed. We were pretty much doing stuff constantly, and we were going from one place to the next. And while I enjoyed being with Sebi, I would say it was similar to Cone, where it was awkward and it wasn't quite what I was intending and what I wanted. I wish I had more time to sit down with Sebi and just talk. Like, I think you really need to spend a good amount of time, like a solid 2 days where you spend many hours with a person to really enjoy being around them. Like, a few hours isn't enough. You don't really get to enjoy being around that person. You really need a solid amount of time over multiple days to really enjoy it. Like NCW, we had a few days of being around each other, and it was great. We got to sit and BS, and that's what I enjoyed the most. Is doing stuff is cool, but sitting around and just BSing, you can't trade that for anything. That's really the best part. Is sure you think, and it sounds silly because you're like, well, you can sit around and BS over the computers, and it's just, why would you want to do that when you want to do things with that person? It's like, yeah, but sitting around and BSing is what you're used to. It's what you do with this person normally. So when you're doing it in person, it's so much better. It's hard to explain in my mind why it's so much better, but it is. It's that little bit more enjoyable when you're sitting with them in person to just BS with them. So that's kind of my thoughts on everything, and I hope to do more stuff in the future. Like I said, maybe I'll do a PAX West, but what I really would like to do is to try to organize a racing event or something that's more up our alley of what we typically like to do, and just go to whatever, it's a 24-hour, or even if it's just like a normal race weekend. I would like to do stuff like that with people, because I just feel in that environment where we're more like us car people can be around cars, that would be more comfortable for me, because I don't have that video game draw, so that stuff, I'm uncomfortable there, so it just puts me in the wrong mood being around cars, I think, or something else. Even if it was just freaking a bowling alley, I think I would enjoy that more. But yeah, so hopefully we'll do things in the future. I think I'm gonna try to do a 24 hours race next year. I gotta figure out when I can do one with my schedule. I've already said to NCW that I really want to do a 24 hours around 24 hours at Nordschleife event, and try to organize that with him and some of the other guys in Europe. But that's in the future. But that's the one thing I think would be more fun, especially with, I really want to spend more time with the guys in Europe, because meeting NCW was cool and meeting Sebi was great, but I really want to meet some of the other guys like Incarcerant and Moose and just all the guys, Nessie and Smart Pipe and them. It's spending time with them would be really cool, especially because it's so far away, and a lot of them being in uni and all that stuff. It's unlikely they'll ever be able to come to an event in the US, so trying to meet up with them at an event in Europe somewhere would probably be more feasible and I think really cool. Hey, Voyager. Go back to Mud Runner. Ooh, that's a sore subject on my part. Don't get me started on Mudrunner. Maybe, one day. One day I'll get back to it.
Watch out, yellow flag.
I may have fucked it. May have fucked it. Oh boy. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Don't panic. Don't panic. We may be missing a wheel. Everything's fine. I'm just lifting a wheel creatively by lifting the rear left. So, yeah. That was PAX. I was happy to meet everyone and hopefully do some more stuff in the future. With that, I don't think I'm going to be able to recover this.
Flag.
Oh, wait a second. We're back in business, boys. Oh, we're no longer in business. We're no longer in business. Alright. I think we're back in business. I don't think I want to be in business anymore because my voice is going to let go soon. So I'm going to catch up with chat quick and give a little last summary, and then we'll finish this up and I'll end the stream. But so let me quick catch up. Yeah, Incarcerate. I would be perfectly okay with that being one of the days of just getting hammered. Oh yeah, and I got to meet up with Moose at the metal bar in Sweden. Alright. Yeah, I do all Jeeps. That's my thing. I have a couple already in Mudrunner. I just haven't finished them because I gotta relearn how to do stuff, and I'm not happy with my work. It needs to be better. But with that, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out. And hold on, let me finish this up proper, and then we'll do the exit.
Watch out, yellow flag.
It's fine. There we go. That's what I wanted to do.
Caution.
Oh. There we go. That was a proper way to send it off. Alright, so there we go. That'll be the end of the stream. Oh. Yeah, lift all the wheels. So, yeah, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully in another day or two I'll be 100%. No more coughing and none of that stuff, and my back will actually not be hurting. And I'll be able to get back into my normal streams. So, I hope you have a nice night, and I will see you next time. You know what? These keyboard shortcuts are great, but I have 8 million drinks in the way. Fancy! Crap, I can't actually... My cursor's stuck on... Panic! Panic! Oh wait, I have a mute set on my mouse.